pick coming out from Celsior Lions. What do you think is going to be the first pick coming out from Sapphire Aces?
I mean, they picked with the black feather. They didn't go with the captain. So what we've kind of seen in past, pattern of this, we could actually see 2 first picked carries here. I mean, if they feel like they need to pick up a Ringo here to avoid maybe a flex pick from that black feather. But honestly, I think picking up the Grace or the Arden, and there it is. The Arden is picked up. Probably see a ban away from. Honestly, I would like to see a Grace ban here.
A Grace ban would definitely be a decent idea because that would essentially be the 3 strongest captains either picked or banned, and it would also mean that by taking away the Grace, you force Celsior Lions to either ban the Ringo or ban something that that something else that can be strong, like maybe a Cruel or Rhyme. And by the way, you were dead right. The Grace ban. Really good choice coming out from Sapphire Aces. Do you think Ringo must be the most obvious ban coming out from Celsior Lions, because Ringo and Arden are a really strong combo together?
Yeah, I definitely think the Ringo would be probably the best ban, but they do pick the Vox. Maybe they know something and they think that Sapphire is better on the Vox in this situation.
Maybe, and that's something I was going to ask before we got into this, get into the draft. Do you know much about these 2 teams, Endless, in terms of, are you aware of, let's say, any particular strong heroes that one of the players play, or anything like what they like, anything like play styles from either team?
Oh, well, I mean, Celsior Alliance, I definitely am aware of them. They actually just dropped their 5v5 roster, and they definitely are a team that has been around for a while. And Dark, he is really strong in that jungle position, I believe, in my memory is correct. But they Sapphire, on the other hand, not a team that I am aware of as much and what they're strong on, so I'm definitely interested to see what they'll have coming out of them. We do see another Dark, actually, I think maybe going to lane in this game. We do see, Nick 40 is another player on that team, but he is not here tonight.
So, you talk about Celsior Lions just dropping their 5v5 roster as we see Lyra's picked up. Do you think that maybe that might slightly go against them with this Saw Lyra? Push, come.
They're ready to play.
Oh, my God. It's like, Saw push, Saw take turn, Saw kill, Saw win. And with a Lyra, that is going to be just a little bit disgusting. However, what do you think would be a good counter coming out from Sapphire Aces?
I don't know if oh man, just here's my traditional. It's going to be Ataka. I'm not even going to be able to get to my speculation. Ataka to try and blow up the Saw and be able to jump on him and kind of burst him down as quick as possible. But I don't know.
Lyra is such a good counter to Taka with the Bright Bulwark. A hero I felt that would have been a lot better would have actually have been the Celeste, because Celeste on once she hits level 8 has that extra range, would be able to heavily poke out the Saw, and it would have helped really shut down with the Ringo, would have really have helped shut down Celsior Lions. However, they've gone for an Ataka, but I want to give a slight scenario for you. What I feel this potentially might be, Endless. We might see a CP Saw in jungle and weapon power Black Feather. I've seen it happen in NCL so far. What do you think?
I think what they're carrying over here or hovering over will be the Saw in the lane, but I have seen a lot of Crystal Saw more recently, so I think that'd be awesome. Some huge shanks would be amazing. The burst damage that comes out are just insane. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I was going to talk about the Celeste, but unfortunately, they were drafting so fast. We didn't have much time to talk about anything. And Celeste is just my traditional counter to a Saw. But I think in this situation, we're going to see Dark, the jungler, go into the jungle here with the CP Black Feather, and we're gonna see this push comp in full force here.
Yeah, we are, and I do find it interesting that I love No Yeah, I love Rhea. The Saw has gone for the backs with Dark Hour. I actually think it would have been a slightly better idea for Saw just to go straight to the lane and push the lane a little bit and maybe put a little bit of pressure, make the Ringo go up the lane, and then they would have been able to push towards the mid-century. But however, they've gone for the standard rotation. And just a quick question. Do you think, as I said, with Celsior Lions dropping their 5v5 roster, maybe they've taken a slight back step towards 3v3 and maybe they aren't as practiced as maybe they would have been previously?
I mean, I know they've been playing a lot of other, tournaments and playing a lot still on 3v3 just because of 5v5 probably not being completely available for everyone yet. So I know they've been playing a lot on 3v3 still, and they've been, I did cast them in the mobile esports and G Fuel tournament a while back, and they won that tournament. So they've been, and Misfits was in that tournament as well. So they definitely played really well there. So I'm excited to see that 5v5 roster going forward and what they have in store for the future. But for now, I think they're ready to continue dominating on the Halcyon Fold.
Definitely. And we see them putting a decent bit of pressure now onto the Ringo.
Yeah, Ringo, going up against Assault in the first 5 minutes is just so frustrating when you have these, the minions are coming out trying to, the Candy are trying to stop the push, but it's just so strong right now. Fully spun. Junglers, no rotation. We're going to see actually Chef go really super low there, but it looks like the healing from Julia's gift is going to keep. Oh, that was so close. Apollo try to get cheeky with the Imperial Sigil. Actually, we could see nope. The back and forth right now. The exchange is crucial. We're actually seeing a little engage in the jungle. I don't really want to leave the lane though. Matches. He's going to rotate out. Snowmitz, though, is dropping super low here. We see Dark Hour is going to continue just to farm while Snowmitz comes out of and there is first blood. Dark Hour in the jungle is did we just lose turret 1 already?
Yes. 2.5 minute turret push. That was really strong. And what helped Dark Hour, by the way, securing that first kill onto the Taka was the fact that the Taka had attacked the minions and the minions followed the Taka. So Blackfeather knew exactly where the on point. So that was really good, really good awareness that came out from Dark Hour. And I'm really impressed even in this early stages by Celsior Esports, but we do slightly expect it with this push comp. It's not to be surprised. And what I also find interesting.
Yeah, we definitely see we look at this. The Saul's already pushing down the matches. Matches is going to drop already. He's going to continue to walk forward. He's going to try. He's going to be out of range. But, as what you're saying is, this push comp has to succeed early on. Maybe sometimes we've seen some games it does fall off later and later. But sometimes they don't even get to that late game just because of how fast the pushing does go. Look at this. The Arden is dropping so low too. Misfits needs to get to that level 6 so we can have, the X-Retsu and, the other abilities to try to, knock down Saw. But I don't know. They are going to get to the base, I have a feeling, relatively quick if the aggression from Apollo and Rhea stay there.
Yeah, and that's one thing to also point out. But look at Blackfeather just hogging the jungle.
Yeah, Blackfeather's definitely, Dark, he's just super comfortable right now. He's just like, I don't have to worry about my lane. Saw is just doing a massive amount of damage. We actually do see maybe a rotation coming out of Snowmitz here, but look, Apollo kind of felt that coming. Throws out, the bright ball where to try to stop it. But here comes the engage. Is going to jump in on top of Love Rhea. He's actually jumping pretty low, though. He switches over to matches to try to get some damage down. He's going to try to get Snowmitz. He does, look at that, matches steps 1 step forward, look at the healing, comes back out to keep him alive. He actually does fall though. Snowmitz does pick up Saul. I think Saul's all right with that. He's going to go back and get a Sorrow Blade. He's going to reset and continue the push. Apollo should have Imperial Sigil back up. It does. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough to keep him alive though, because he's starting to run low on energy. Healing Flask is popped. He's just delaying his death, which is fine. He's going to have to reset low death timers right now. So he'll be back in the lane with Saul in a little bit. The Fountain is picked up for him as well.
I'm kind of surprised the Fountain is picked up first. I thought Crucible would have been a better choice. As we see
Taka drops a level 6. Yeah, level 6 already, Dark Hour, able to use those Rose offensives, getting out so much damage currently. We actually see a rotation out of matches. I really do think Dark Hour is actually going to fall here just because of the rotation out of matches. It was really nice just for him. I mean, there's nothing for matches to do in the lane, honestly. He doesn't need to be there right now just because he has a Saul pushing him down. So him rotating.
It's true. It's true. It was a great rotation by him.
Yeah, him rotating was definitely the best option for him.
Yeah, and like Dark Hour did a great job getting onto Taka, but you gotta say to yourself, what was the advantage of that? What did he gain? He didn't really gain much. He just lost his life. It's not like Saul had pushed lane so that he could get a turn as a distraction. But look at Snowmitz now. He is in the bush, has level 6, I might add, with the aftershock.
Yeah, this will be interesting to see how these team fights change now. We do see Saul has, the Sorrow Blade, and it has a little bit of crit. It's putting him on decent amount of damage, but if we don't have a flare come out, if we don't have anything to stop Snowmitz, Snowmitz could do a decent job. Turret drops matches. He stepped a little too far forward, though. Here comes the healing for I Love. Actually, here comes the Hellfire. That's going to do a good amount of damage. Here comes Snowmitz, though. Look at the bright bulwark to stop Snowmitz from trying to get all that damage down. It actually does not matter. Saul is going to stay alive. I almost said he was going to drop, but look at the healing coming out. I Love Rhea is doing a massive amount of damage when he's close enough. Dark Hour, he's playing super aggressive. He wants the kill, but he realizes he misses the on point. He gets out of there.
Yeah, great by Chef Coco to go kind of behind the turret so he couldn't get the on point. But I questioned the Fountain first pick for Lyra. That was clutch. That was a way better item pickup. At least that paid off for them in that situation than the Crucible. So full credit to Apollo. So essentially proved me wrong because I was going to say I felt Crucible would have been better. However, Fountain grade means she is going to be able to pick up Crucible straight away. So not only is a Fountain on the board for Apollo, it's Crucible. And just to point out that Celsior are an amazing 5k gold lead ahead in the first 6 minutes. Or 7 minutes, should I say?
Yeah, before the 7 minute mark, the third turret was dropped. So before 7 minutes, we had 3 turrets down already. Obviously, they're just Sapphire has really not much they can do when it comes to trying to stop the Saul. We're gonna see an Atlas gonna have to come out on this Taka. I would say really soon, but unfortunately, Snowmitz doesn't have an Atlas anywhere close to being built. I feel like Atlas is definitely going to be an important item, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, of course. I don't get why he's gone for CP defense, as we do see an engagement with Fantastic Gold, though.
Yeah, the gauntlet does come down. Try to be defensive, but unfortunately, that's not really going to matter. Snowmitz just aggrets you to get a little farther away from the Saul. Right now, that is the biggest worry. Stay as far away as possible. Here comes Dark Hour, though. Does use the Rose offensive. He's going to get on top of matches. He does get a good amount of damage with the burst. He has that aftershock. He does miss the on point, though. Snowmitz tries to dodge out. They survive. They survived that fight.
That was a great zigzag by matches. That was really good stuff. Impressed by his singular level mechanics to basically dodge those on points. But what is Lyra doing there?
Yeah, a little too far forward in the Imperial Sigil just to get that movement speed and get out of there. Crystal Sentry, rotate up. He wants some of the action. Honestly, if Saul was around, they would have taken that fight and tried to take down the Crystal Sentry. But here comes a huge Hellfire Brew. It's going to land, but the healing tree.
No, the burst went to matches because of the AoE of the Hellfire Brew.
I think that's one of the first times I've ever seen objective steal from a Hellfire Brew. That's actually pretty impressive.
It's pretty good. But I want to touch again what you mentioned as far as the Atlas focus needed on the side of Sapphire Aces. Yeah, I don't get why Snowmitz has gone for CP defense. Yeah, of course, he's kind of being shut down a little bit by the Blackfeather, but you've got the Kaku. You're going to be able to realistically dodge you on points. Whereas with the Atlas, you're going to be able to dive on the Saw, get the Atlas off, and then you give your team the best possible chance of taking down the Saw, which has got to be the focus for Sapphire Aces, even in this just 10-minute mark where Excelsior Esports have been dominating. Or Celsior Lions, sorry.
Snowmitz just dumped in. Here comes the giant gauntlet, though. Unfortunately, Snowmitz drops really low. He does get into his box, though, to heal back up. I Love Rhea actually drops pretty low here. The healing does come through though. Matches, he's going to be taken down. He actually gets back to Sanctuary to stay healthy. That was a huge on point though. The crit is coming through. Matches needs to be careful because he can die on that platform if he gets too much damage. Here comes a Hellfire Brew. It does land on top of Saul. Saul though, he gets the heal from the Imperial Sigil. They're actually trying to push these turrets already. 10 minutes in, they're trying to focus on the last 2 turrets. It looks like they're going to just rotate out.
Yeah, one thing about that engagement was Chef Coco's gauntlets, not really bad, but when you're going for a gauntlet, you want to make sure that you literally land it directly on the Saw and stun the Saw. Because the Lyra is going to be able to pour it out of it. The Blackfire is going to be able to Rose Offensive out of it. The only hero that is in any way susceptible to the gauntlet is the Saw. So you literally look to lock down the Saw with the stun of the gauntlet and then jump onto the Saw. So if those gauntlets are just a little bit more accurate, you know, Sapphire Aces do have a chance of knocking and you know, essentially bursting the Saw down. And we do see matches going for this turn.
Yeah,
most likely going to lose his life in the process, but it wouldn't be a bad thing. And no, he hasn't lost his life so far, but is now going to go down in the process. I actually feel that was a worthwhile objective take coming out from Sapphire Aces.
Yeah, but meanwhile, Dark Hour was doing work on top of Snowmitz in the jungle. Dark Hour is like, go ahead, take the turret. I'm going to get the ace here, and we're going to get another Crystal Sentry, and then our Saw is going to start pushing. We're at 11, almost 12 minutes here. No Kraken or major objective to help them push. They have a pretty big wave here of ace minions though, so I'll be interested to see if this push can get 1 or 2 turrets, and if if matches drops here, the Hellfire Brew is going to come out. Actually, on top of the Ringo is blocked up. Look at this. Saul's just focusing turret, doing a decent amount of damage. We actually do see the Ringo drop. Saul's already gotten 1 turret down. Here comes the minions are gone though, so we're going to have to see if they decide to tank up here or just wait for the next round of minions. Here comes the Arden or the Gauntlet. It doesn't land on anyone. It just traps everyone inside. That's fine. Saul doesn't care if he's trapped inside of this Gauntlet.
He kind of wants to be trapped inside.
Right. Yeah, he can still put out the damage though, but you know, they're healthy right now. They have both their carries up. Saul, Dark Hour, and I think this can be a misplay right here. I think they're undecided. Saul wanted to go home. Dark Hour wanted to go in. Matches, though. He looks like he's dropping super low, though. Dark Hour, he does get the on point. Gets the secure. Snowmitz does take him down, though. Isla Rhea, he is taking turret shots. There's a Crystal Sentry here attacking them. The battlefield right now is insane. There's so much going on. Somehow Saul is still alive. These Imperial Sigils, Apollo is just doing so much work, has so much, you know, things to pay attention to. Saul goes ahead and takes down the Crystal Sentry. He's going to back. Nope, he stays alive. This is probably the longest play-by-play casting I've ever done. The respawns just keep coming over and over. Apollo goes through the wall. I don't think that's going to matter, though, because here comes a huge Hellfire Brew back through the wall.
Oh, my God.
Oh, the dodging. It just keeps dodging over and over. And here comes the kill. Finally, everyone died, but no ace.
Apollo, teach me, senpai. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely amazing stuff coming out from Celsior Lions. But yeah, that was definitely a long, drawn out, successful push by Celsior Lions because they got another turret of the Vein Crystal. And, you know, Arden now has the Atlas, which isn't a bad thing. You see that Snowmitz has gone Aftershock Dragon's Eye. I don't actually agree with the Dragon's Eye when it's with the Aftershock. I feel if he was going to go on Dragon's Eye item, it should have been picked up first, followed by the Clockwork, because Clockwork would have given the Taka a lot better cooldown on his abilities, as we see.
Engage is coming in, though. Snowmitz is dropping super low immediately. We see Isla Rhea is so far away. That's the bad thing about the Saul. He needs to be in the team fights, but Dark Hour, when you have a strong Crystal Blackfeather, it doesn't matter. He's going to do all the work currently. They're going to get the ace. And the minions, look at the minions, though. I don't think it's going to matter. The minions are pushed on that turret right now, but I think with the tanking, the amount of damage on a spun-up Saul, this could be GG for game 1.
Saul is the Robocop of Vainglory.
Straight out. 395 damage.
You
right
know,
now.
it's just literally like, you know,
look at
that. God. Just rips Taka, a new one. It sums up the dominating performance by Celsior Lions. But I want to point out that not only were they fantastic as a team in terms of their structure, their rotations, but they played their comp the way their comp should be played. You know, they pushed the turret, got it the first turret in under 2.5 minutes. Dark Hour on the Blackfeather really played a great early game Blackfeather, because CP Blackfeather, I might add, because normally he doesn't kind of ramp up till late game, 2 or 3 items, but held his own, was able to secure the first kill on the Taka. And talking about the Taka, that's what killed it for Sapphire Aces. Last hero, you know you're against the Lyra, you know you're against the Saw. Either Celeste, Samuel, or Scarf would have been the ideal heroes to, in some way, counter the Saw. It would have given the Saw a lot harder of a time. So, you know, I wouldn't say Celsior Lions outright won the draft. It's just Sapphire Aces, you know, kind of outdrafted themselves, so to speak. But coming into the second game, Endless, what would you kind of like to see coming out from Sapphire Aces other than a more improved draft?
Yeah, I mean, in this situation, I feel like when you play against the team that dominates on some heroes, sometimes you have to ban that hero away. I don't think banning Saw will be necessary in this case, and unless Celsior is just like, look, we want to have another possible under 15-minute game. Let's just go ahead and run the same comp. But, you know, if that happens, like you just said, Sapphire would, you know, have to focus on maybe doing something a little different to try to counter that and slow down that push comp. But even if Celsior goes back to maybe the traditional things we've been seeing, it could be, it still could be a difficult job on the side of Sapphire.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, my kind of viewpoint is that, you know, a Celsior line should actually just stick to a similar comp that matches what they want to do in the game. So, you know, when you have a Lyra Saw that work well together and you don't want to go for a Saw, maybe don't go for the Lyra either. Go for 2 heroes that kind of complement each other really nicely, whether it's Ard and Ringo, even though we didn't see it work out for Sapphire Aces in that last game. You know, and that's one of the most important things of helping not only secure the draft, but overall secure the game for your team, is that you make sure that you pick 2-3 heroes that work really well together, and then you play from there. As we are just getting ready to go into the second draft for you lovely people in the chat. Just to remind you though, you know, let us all know in the chat who you want to see win these games, whether it is hashtag Sapphire Aces or if it's hashtag Celsior Lions. Let us know, because we are into the draft of the second game. Endless, what do you think is going to go down?
Yeah, I mean, we could see a traditional Churnwalker and then a Varia ban. I'm trying to pull up client, so if it was anything like last match, they may have already banned everyone.
No, in fairness, no hero has been banned yet, as Sapphire Aces, who are on the left-hand side for this second game with Celsior Lions on the right-hand side, they're taking their time with the first ban. You know, I feel that, you know, an obvious either Blackfeather, Churnwalker, or Grace ban would be kind of ideal for them, because if you take away the Blackfeather, it means that most likely Varia is going to be banned and you're able to pick up the Ringo. Or if you take away the Churnwalker and the Various take away, you're able to pick up the Blackfeather. So, you know, it's very vital for Sapphire Aces as we're waiting for them to pick their first ban, that they pick something that is going to give their team a strong start in this draft.
Yeah, we are having, I believe, an issue with the player's device. That could be why draft hasn't totally started yet. Trying to make sure everyone actually is in chat and able and ready for this next game before we get into it. But yeah, I think Celsior Lions obviously that last game they went in with a plan. Like they probably are like, let's just try this comp and see how it happens. But I think if they go in the second game, no matter what they go after, I think they definitely will be prepared to execute that comp in a strong way. But, I think once the teams actually get the links, then we'll actually hopefully start the draft. Imperium, I don't know if we want to just start imagining and do we got
it? They're teasing us. That's it. They're teasing us. They're just like, having a little bit of a feather and tickling us. They're trying to ramp it up a little bit, and that's not a bad thing because you want the game to be ramped up. You want to like get the excitement going, the blood flowing across your whole body as you're getting prepared to get into this second match. Sapphire Ace is there, game down, but they've every chance to crawl their way back. One thing I do want to point out, though, in every single game series we've had so far tonight, Endless has been 2-0 wins across the board, other than the first game where one of the enemy teams had to forfeit after the first game, which is unfortunate. It has been 2-0 wins across the board. Does that mean we're going to have the trend is going to be followed and Celsior Lions are going to do the same thing? Or Sapphire Aces, they're going to crawl their way back and take it to a 3-game series?
Yeah, I mean, it will be interesting to see. I think Celsior may even try to, try something different again and try some, not necessarily new comps, but maybe a comp that they've been practicing that they want to see how it works during a competitive type situation. But hopefully Sapphire Aces will have some answers and be able to, either get on heroes that they're strong with or, get on a comp that could, try to stop or slow down Celsior.
Yeah, exactly. That's a really good, important point you brought up, is that, Sapphire Aces need to look to maybe possibly, pick a comp that is going to try to shut Celsior Lions down in this early stage. Because, as I said, I don't know much about Celsior Lions. What is their late game strength like in a comp? Do they fall off as a team, or have you found that they've been able to kind of keep, hold a pressure that's been put onto them and then turn it around into their favor late game? What's your experience of that?
I mean, I think when they play against other, not to downplay Sapphire at all, but when I've seen them play against other teams like Misfits and some of the bigger quote unquote organizations that play in the competitive scene a lot, they definitely see more of a challenge. And when they have their normal comp with them and they're running their normal team comp, they have all their players. I don't think currently this is the normal players that are playing. This is the first time I've personally seen I love Rhea. So it is interesting to see him play and see him actually play well at the team because, of course, like we talked about, that 5v5 coming up. But I think they play enough and practice enough to where they understand, okay, when we start falling behind, what they try to do to either, swing things in their favor or how they can, actually play into their win conditions if they possibly have, screwed something up early game in order to actually win it.
Exactly, and just one thing to point out, I saw in chat where somebody said, I like how the casters act like this match is even. It's never the fact of whether a match is even or not. We are always aware that, a match might be in the favor of another team, but I will always say this, and I'm sure you will agree on this, that a match is never over until it's over. Every single team has any chance, even if it's just a slither, of crawling back into the game. And you have to respect Sapphire Aces that they have that ability, because all it takes is a mistake, even a lag issue, even though nobody really wants to see that. But all it takes is a mistake from Celsior Lions, who could be a game ahead of getting back into this game. And I'm always open to seeing these amazing type of drafts that might come out from Sapphire Aces because they are game down, where they might try and pull out something a little bit unknown, a little bit exciting, like a weapon power, like a weapon power flicker even, or a captain flicker, something that is really completely off meta. and might even catch Celsior Lions out.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are getting back into draft now. I'm not sure if new links are being sent out or if everyone is into the correct client. That way we can get into draft and we can get into this game too. I know you are patiently waiting in the chat. So hang in there with us once we get the draft rolling. We'll actually be able to speculate once we start seeing some bans and picks.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, there's only, to a certain extent, there's only kind of so much we can, as far as talk about, as far as what might be banned or picked. But one question I suppose that I do want to put to you, Endless, is, you know, what would be your most ideal off meta comp that you would like to see coming out from a team, you know, from any team, that 3 heroes that are decent but that are off meta right now, at least?
I think for me personally, when I think about how I love, or my style is, I love the mages. I love Celeste and Scarf, and I love them in the lane. You know, they can get a lot of farm, and the late game capability is absolutely insane. So, you know, seeing a Celeste or Scarf being picked up in the lane always is exciting. But I don't know. I don't know if any teams like running that. There's so many strong weapon power heroes out there. You know, when it comes to jungle, you know, Glaive is strong, and it's not that he's not meta. We just don't see people picking Glaive up as much, you know, as recently.
Exactly. But we are finally into draft this second game, and I can't tell you that is a first ban of Blackfeather coming out from Sapphire Aces, followed by the Varia. Makes complete sense. However, what is going to be a really telling point for this game is the first pick that comes out from Sapphire Aces. And just, what do you think it's going to be?
So okay, so it's the Churn Walker. I was gonna say, just because they banned the Blackfeather, I was gonna say they probably were trying to set them up for a Churn Walker pick, which is, you know, a strong captain here. I think if we see a Grace, Apollo did really well on that Lyra last game. Maybe try to get another hero that can do some healing. Flicker, they listen to you. I think they are definitely listening, and they just want to. Oh boy, I don't even know what to say.
Celsior Lions, thank you very much, guys. I absolutely salute you in this game. Just right now, based on that first pick,
I better get my Celeste.
Flicker. I do hope, but yeah, look, you know, going for the Churn Walker, I want to kind of point one thing out, is that we mentioned that maybe Sapphire Aces should look for a comp that is going to shut an early game Celsior Lions out. Churn Walker is definitely strong early game, but I kind of feel he's not the strongest and doesn't provide the highest amount of frontline protection for your team. And when you have, especially as we've now seen a Flicker that's going to be invisible, is less likely to be hooked on by the Churn Walker, it could expose Sapphire Aces. However, like, how, if you're Sapphire Aces, seeing a Flicker, sorry, I was going to say weapon power Flicker, but we don't know what it's going to be. Seeing a Flicker on the board, how would you counteract that?
I mean, honestly, right now, if I'm Sapphire, I just stick to what we know best. Try to get the heroes that they know they can play. I mean, how do you counter Flicker when it comes to someone that you never play against? It's just kind of like, well, let's just stick with what's strong, and maybe they pick, let's call a troll comp that we actually can beat. The Sky pickup, though, is going to be super strong. Honestly, no matter if they put it in the lane or in the jungle, you know, because I think One Power Sky can still be really strong. It'll be interesting to see if, you know, obviously the Taka band set them up for that Sky.
Yeah, Sky, decent pick, but, you know, Batiste coming out from Sapphire Aces is good. Can, you know, shut down the Sky a little bit with the Ordained, followed by the Fierce and Shade and Bad Mojo, but it all comes down to that last pick. I'd like to see something, you know, maybe a little bit backliney, maybe a Fox, or you could have a weapon power Batiste and a CP Mage in the lane, because, you know, I said Flicker would be you know, interesting, and it was. So we could see what you mentioned, which could be a Celeste in lane on CP.
Yeah, I mean, even if another thing that I'm actually interested in seeing is we saw a lot of CP Kestrel for a while in a couple of these NACL matches.
Yeah.
And, you know, I haven't seen one again in a while. And if if we put a weapon power Sky in the lane and a CP Kestrel in the jungle, I mean, that can go back to them being able to push turrets extremely fast with the amount of damage that Kestrel can do on those turrets.
Yeah, and that's actually a good point. But I'm thinking on the side of Sapphire, because see, they've picked up the Batiste, so kind of I think it slightly limits them. They've gone for Gwen. Gwen is not in the meta right now. She's actually very heavily fallen off. She's behind Ringo, Vox, Blackfeather, Baron even. I actually feel she's probably the weakest weapon power carry right now. Where she is strong is CP. We could see a CP Gwen and a weapon power Batiste. I actually think that has a potential of working.
I mean, the buckshot, the buckshot is going to be able to reveal the flicker, and spamming that over and over could be huge. We're going to see the Samuel last pick, which kind of makes me think, unless they do something crazy, it'll be a weapon power Sky and a Samuel in the jungle, and we'll go that CP route. Double CP is still obviously viable. Some teams still do it, but it'll be interesting to see, what they decide to go with. And it's going to be interesting to see how this flicker plays into a Churnwalker. I'm excited to, have that for my future games of cast if this ever happens again, if a Churnwalker dominates the flicker.
You never know. It's well possible, but one thing I want to kind of, mention, the late game potential, should I say, coming out from Sapphire Aces, Flicker is only going to provide so much frontline protection, and late game I think Flicker tends to fall off. He's gotten a couple of buffs over the last few patches where he's a little bit stronger, but late game I feel it's going to be a bit risky. It all depends what kind of synergy and damage and how quickly the Samuel and the Sky can ramp up in their respective roles.
Yeah, the thing that worries me about Snowmit's being on this weapon power Baptiste, we do see him in the jungle. So if he runs the weapon power Baptiste, it just worries me that maybe the Samuel and Sky will be too far away from them. And if you take a quick look, we have a Sky in the jungle on Dark Hour and a possible either double crystal or still even a weapon power Samuel. It's not. I don't even know what to say. It's possible.
We said we wanted to see off meta picks, and we actually are, because you're right. Like I said, it was good. It has a chance of being weapon power Batiste, and it is, and it's going to be a CP Gwen. I really think that's good for Sapphire Aces. I genuinely like it. You're going to see the Shatterglass Clockwork most likely coming out from Gwen. Followed by, I believe it should be something like a Serpent's Mask breaking point from Snowmit's, but it could be a Spell Sword breaking point followed by a Tyrant's that comes out from, because Spell Sword is so viable right now as an item and provides good cooldown, which is very good for a Batiste. However, we're going to see the two teams fight over this mid-century.
Yeah, see who's going to make the first move and try to start it up. My only worry with Snowmit's is he's weapon, so he needs to be in people's faces. And with the Samuel and Sky, sometimes they can do a really good job of kiting away. So if Snowmit's is not able to lock anyone down and get in their face with this weapon power, those bad mojos aren't going to be doing as much. And we saw Impunity run this weapon power Baptiste at Worlds. They did an excellent job. And there goes the Elder Treant. It does go over to Dark Hour. It looks like he's going to actually be a little aggressive here. Get a nice forward barrage down on top of Chef. And here comes, an invisible Apollo. He's going to get out that fairy dust and slow everyone down. Apollo is actually dropping really low, though. It looks like Chef on that Churnwalker's going to try to finish him off. Meanwhile, Dark Hour does get the first blood on top of the Baptiste. He does use the Surrey Strike forward. He's getting a huge forward barrage on top of Matches, though. Matches is going to have to use that Healing Flask to stay alive. Apollo is back to slow down the Churnwalker. The Healing Flask is popped on Churnwalker to keep him alive. It looks like teams are going to rotate out and continue farming.
Yeah, and now, see, that, like, Sapphire Aces need to just kind of hold their own and be passive in this early game. Don't engage. Don't really let yourself get engaged. And look at this Flicker just being so beautifully toxic. Coming up into the lane. I don't mean literally toxic, but just as you know, the strengths that
Yeah.
Flicker has is just really like, it's just harsh on an enemy team. It genuinely is, because also myself as a main captain, I hate going up against a Flicker, because a real big part of me kind of doesn't really know how to deal with it, you know, and it can be so frustrating as well.
Yeah, definitely, especially when Apollo's not going to be too insanely a tanky front line. Apollo will be kind of coming in and out, and I feel like the poke will be extremely important in this situation. You know, I love Rhea, though, being on this Empower Samuel, maybe not, you know, backing away in a drifting dark like, you know, we've seen in the past. I think this Samuel will be played differently.
Yeah, it will. Of course it will, because it's weapon power. And you know, I'm just going to hold that.
Yeah, we could see a full team rotation, though, coming down from Sapphire. Dark Hour, he is currently caught out, and he could be in big trouble here unless we see a massive Surrey strike to reposition. It's not going to be up. He's not going to be able to get out of the way. The buckshot Bonanza does secure the kill over Sapphire. We're going to see Apollo rotate back up to the lane with I Love Rhea.
Yeah, exactly. So we have Gwen kind of being aggressive a little bit, but great by Chef Coco to use those chains, hook them onto Flicker, push the Flicker back, and great by Chef Coco, doing a really good job on this turn so far. Just, you know, spamming out those chains is really important, just to even accidentally catch out the Flicker, which can play a really good part in your team winning a team fight, as I Love Rhea is really kind of pushing the lane of matches right now.
Yeah, the thing that surprises me is obviously the Flicker pick is kind of fun and stuff, but into that Churnwalker, if Churnwalker does have that Flicker, you know, hooked and then it goes invisible, obviously the chain will be tracking and the vision won't be completely gone. So if any hooks are on the teams, they're going to be careful about when they're going into that ultimate. I'm still trying to wait for an engage here. It looks like Apollo is pretty low. That's why I'm just kind of worried that Apollo should have gone back at this little lull here in the match and healed back up. That way he could have came back healthy and ready for the next team fight. A little poke back and forth matches is kind of low. In the jungle, once again, Dark Hour does go down. Unfortunately, I did miss it. Turnwalker, Chef Coco does pick it up.
Yeah, like, and it's a little bit interesting by Celsior lines. I would have liked to have seen the Samuel I Love Rhea kind of, you know, rotate down with this guy, because the lane was pushed. They could have rotated down and potentially got a kill. Apollo is just, you know, like, he played the Flicker the way a Flicker should be played, with all due respect, and just kind of, you know, checking those bushes. And from our point of view, we see it as, you know, kind of something slightly entertaining, but to his team and to the enemy team, it's completely different, because it's playing such a good advantage for Celsior lines, and it's just been, again, frustrating for Sapphire Aces.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Chef Coco here, he's been forced into this early. It possibly looks like we do have an engaged those snow mitts in the jungle. He does take a lot of damage from Dark Hour. The forward barrage does take him down. Here comes Apollo, though. He rotates as well. The damage is going to continue to go on top of Chef Coco. Another forward barrage. He does sidestep it, does get the healing flask out. Here comes I Love Rhea. The Oblivion. That is a nice Oblivion. That's going to actually secure the kill. Dark Hour, couple turret shots, though. He's going to back out healthy. And Matches is coming back. I was going to go into something. There it is. The contraption is a first item instead of a fountain for the Churnwalker.
Risky, interesting, but risky, because, you know, yeah, okay, the contraption is kind of good because it provides extra cooldown as well, which isn't a bad thing, but, you know, there's only so many flares you have in the contraption. You don't have the fountain. You're still going to be waiting for the scout trap / flares to kind of come back off cooldown once you use all 4 of them. And without that fountain, it's very risky for Sapphire Aces. They have to play even more passive than they have been.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it does kind of deter Apollo once he realizes the amount of scout traps that'll be coming down. Actually, that is a huge pull on top of Apollo, though. He's dropping extremely low. He's going to actually use his boots to get out there. I Love Rhea throwing out those Malice and Verdicts. Obviously, those aren't doing as much damage as they normally can in a crystal situation. But we do have a weapon power Samuel, people. We cannot forget that. Apollo going back in. Look at that. He just catches a chain to his face. He drops super low from Dark Hour has arrived. He's arrived for the fun. He throws out the forward barrage. He does a lot of damage. The Surrey strike to reposition. He's going to get the kill on matches. Actually, the turret does a great job of tanking it up. Here comes the weapon power. Baptiste No Miss is doing a lot of damage when he does get on top of them, but the fearsome shade comes through, pushing them back. But unfortunately, it's just going to be the end of the side of Sapphire and an ace. All members are here for the turret. The turret is most likely going to fall.
Yeah, good choice. And now once they get the turret, they should go onto the gold mine. Apollo looks to want to, take out a little bit of vision, but he's going to get damaged by the Crystal Sentry. They could, if they had it rotated quickly enough, they could have gotten the gold mine as well, but they seem to just be kind of like taking it easy a little bit. They got the ace, they got the turret. Let's just, fall back a little bit, play it safe, and then itemize up and then go back in for the engagement and then possibly take the gold mine afterwards. So strong stuff by Celsior Lions on this off meta comp, I do believe, with the weapon power Samuel and the flicker support.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough for matches just because you throw out that buckshot and then you kind of just, for the most part, stand around and you have to wait for the buckshot to come back up. And if some of these team fights are happening super fast, matches may not be able to get out the damage that Crystal Gwen actually needs in order to win some of these team fights. So it'll be interesting to see how the team fights actually pan out. Snowman's actually taking a huge amount of damage already. Huge Shuri strike. Repositions right on top, plus the forward barrage. But look like I Love Bria says, nah, all those kills are mine. Dark Hour, you may have done all the work, but I wanted to get those kills. Meanwhile, Apollo wants to go mess with matches. Actually gets the root. A flicker root is actually very hard and rare to actually land.
It is, but I like that that Apollo has been putting those.
Oh my gosh, the Surrey strike. Dark Hour right now takes 2 turret shots, though it does take a lot of damage. I think they're gonna get out, but the play right there, the dive. The dive was insane.
Great dive coming out from the sky. But that's kind of, they are now, 5k gold lead ahead in under 10 minutes. That damage onto the Baptiste is disgusting.
It's your favorite item. It's it's the Dragon's Eye. It stacks up so fast and it just chunks through no matter what kind of armor and shield you have. Dark Hour is taking some turret shots, though. He actually could be a little too aggressive. The fountain does come up, though, to keep him alive. They actually do the turret dive on top of the Chernwalker. They do get him 2 kills on the side of Celsior Alliance right now. Snowmitz, he's back, but I'm not quite sure he wants to face these two, even with the Crystal Sentry and turrets on his side.
I would nearly, I would get a tattoo of the Dragon's Eye logo if just because it's such a good item. I absolutely love it. Please, nobody hold me to that, please.
Big stun does come up, though. It looks like we're going to see actually them try to rotate out. Snowman says use his boots. Apollo is going to go back in and fall. Dark Hour and I Love Rhea definitely need to back out, maybe farm up, maybe go home and just reset themselves. Apollo just couldn't get away. Not too big of a kill, not too big of an issue that Apollo did fall there. At 11 minutes, though, so what does Sapphire have to do in this situation?
They could go for gold mine. It's an objective. It's gold on their favor. They're not going to be able to push the turret. The wave is too high. They're hanging around that jungle area. They're wasting precious seconds, not even putting vision out, to be honest. Putting out a little bit of vision. They could have taken the gold mine. Seize the moment. Take advantage of any kind of bad push, as we do see Apollo being caught out slightly.
Yeah, he does get seen. Actually, I'm going to go back to the jungle here. We see Dark Hour once again finding Snowmist, trying to do a lot of stuff. The Ace's High does mix. Here comes the Trespass, though. I don't know if that even landed. Dark Hour is just doing so much damage on these forward barrages. Another 12 Dragon Eye stack. I don't think Dark Hour can be stopped right now. If matches Ace's High actually landed in that situation, I think it could have been a different team fight because Dark would have gotten actually some damage down on him. But I think, again, Celsior is just doing everything perfect.
Yeah, and now after they get the ace, they get the gold mine. Really good stuff coming out from them. And also, Apollo is also doing great to... I don't know if they're going to take turret. The turret is even down.
Minions
on the side of Celsior Lions. But yeah, great vision coming out from Apollo as well. Really good stuff from him.
Yeah, Apollo actually is, playing extremely well on this flicker. Sometimes I can see a flicker not always working out if the block from the ace is high. Once again, here comes Dark Hour out of nowhere. He's going to get the forward barrage down on top of the Turnwalker. Turnwalker is just absolutely melted through. No shield or armor is going to actually help him. We do see Snowmitz follow immediately in matches. He's not going to have anything left. Dark Hour just chases him down. Again, Dark Hour 9-2 doing the damage. We're 13 minutes in. They're pushing in the base. Imperium, what is going to happen here?
Not even any defense coming out from Dark Hour. Yes, he has the Eve, and I'm kind of surprised with the Frostburn pick. I actually feel that's just a little bit of us helping to secure the kills. But really impressive stuff coming out from Celsior Lions. Fountain comes out.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to leave until they win this game. I think they want to win it right now. They're just going to continue to stick around, keeping them pushed into their sanctuary to heal them back up. And look at this ultimate right now. They don't even know where they are. Dark Hour actually is revealed, though. It looks like Dark Hour could go down, but I could be wrong. Actually, Reflex Box does come out. He does use a Surrey Strike to reposition himself. Huge damage once again on matches. Dark, he still hasn't died. And look at the health. Just finished the game before Dark dies. He does go 11-2. And that is game 2, people. 14 minutes in, 20-3. Celsior, GG to both teams.
Yeah, GG to both teams, but you cannot deny the dominance coming out from Celsior Lions. They picked the flicker. I wanted a flicker. Can't deny I loved the flicker. It was brilliant. It was played beautifully. And, but going back to what I mentioned when Sapphire Aces picked up the Charmwalker, I felt that was not playing to what they needed to do against Celsior Lions to try and crawl their way back up. Something like a Grace Arden, who, even though, as I said, Charmwalker is great early game, doesn't provide enough frontline for the rest of your team. However, Grace Arden does. I like the Gwen pickup on CP. It's strong, even though it's not really early game. But if they had picked up something instead of Batiste, they could have crawled their way back. But I gotta say, the off-meta picks was really surprising, and I'm impressed because you don't see kind of enough of it. I feel sometimes people get a little bit bored by the consistent same first bans, first picks, and for it to be done differently between these two teams, full respect to them.
Yeah, I just cannot wait to see, Dark Hour. He just played so well in the jungle. Can't wait to see this team going forward. GG to both teams, Sapphire. Definitely a tough matchup for them tonight. But overall, man, it was